Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be discussing glorious Space Marines. Of course we are. This is a Space Marine fanboy channel, as you all should know by now. Now, what we're going to be discussing is, of course, we know that there's new Space Marine stuff coming because we've seen like the little teaser the other day with the new hover tank, the new dreadnought, all that kind of stuff. So we know new stuff is coming. But I also want to theory craft and think, you know, what else could be on the horizon, let's say. Now, I know there's other armies out there. I know there's going to be Eldar players, Tau players, Necron, Nid players saying, Valrak, why are you not making videos about the Tyranids and all that kind of stuff and, you know, the models we need? I get it, guys. I get it. I know you guys need models, but this video is just me talking about Space Marines because I like talking about Space Marines because I'm probably the biggest white knight when it comes to Space Marines. So let's jump in and let's get talking. So as I mentioned, we are definitely getting new Space Marine stuff. And that teaser, there was definitely some kind of new Primaris hover vehicle. Hopefully it is the transport, which I desperately need. Some people saying, hey, it looks like maybe a different type of Razorback / artillery kind of vehicle. There's definitely a new Dreadnought. The Dreadnought looks like a light version of a Dreadnought as well. It's probably going to be going with the full range that we've been having at the moment with the Primaris, which is like the Vanguard range, which is like the deep striking, light infantry-esque type of special forces, I would really say, when it comes to the Space Marines. So I think that Dreadnought personally is going to be having stuff like deep striking capabilities where you can bring it down with your forces. Maybe it'll have something like where you can deny deep striking within 12 inches, because at the moment it's only 9 inches. So maybe it'll have, like, you know, that kind of upgrade stuff to really harbour the enemy and keep him away from you and stuff like that. I think one of the most interesting things is about the range at the moment is that they're doing it in stages. So this stage, what we're seeing now, like I just said, is like the Special Forces light infantry, like kind of grouping of soldiers. And I'm wondering what is next. Is it going to be like the middle kind of guys, like the intercessors? Are they going to be giving them a bit more, or are they going to be going to the other end of the scale and start producing some more heavy scale units? And what I mean by heavy scale units is like the Mark X, like aggressors, you know, the Gravis type of armor. Are we going to see more versions of that? Maybe finally we'll see Primaris Terminators. I know there's a lot of debate. Well, is Gravis basically the Terminator variant of the Primaris range? For me personally, it is a yes and a no answer. Yes, because it has that bulky kind of big kind of armor effect, but no, because it doesn't have the characteristics of a Terminator armor. It doesn't even have teleport capabilities. You can't deep strike in Gravis armor, so that really is kind of a no when it comes to, you know, Terminator-S / heavy type of units. I think if they did do the more heavy type of units, I would love to see more close combat weapons added to those units. For example, I want to see Thunderhammers, I want to see Storm Shields, I want to see Lightning Claws, I want to see all the stuff that you can put on a Terminator brought over and put on, you know, the Primaris-esque Terminators, whatever they may be. It's just updating Gravis armor or anything like that. Because at the moment, that is the kind of stuff I would like to put into my heavy stuff, so I can march them forward. I can start hitting things in the head. You know, if I have my Storm Shields, I can block stuff, you know, get those nice little saves and all that kind of stuff. At the moment, all we've got is range on them, basically. We've just got the Flamers, and we've just got the Auto Storm Bolt guns. And they're great. I love them. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But for me, my play style, I do like to get closer, because what's happening at the moment, I feel, with the whole Primaris line, and there's jokes about this, I'm always getting memed about this, is that it's basically Taumaris. And what I mean by that is the Primaris range is basically a gun line. At the moment, you're basically just putting your guys on one side of the table and you're acting like Tau. You're just shooting from buildings. You're not really pushing them up, because there's no benefit of pushing your guys up. So it's just best to keep them in cover, or just, you know, put them in around certain objectives and just fire at things that are coming to you. And, you know, it's like playing like Tau, which for me is very, very heretical, because I hate those blueberries. One thing they could really expand on is, of course, the vehicles when the Primaris range. I know we've got Dreadnoughts, I know we've got tanks, we've got different variant tanks now. We have the Repulsor, we have the Executioner, we have this new one that's not coming out, we have the Astraeus Super Heavy Tank. I know they've got tanks, but I'm on about more fast attack vehicles. Now, this has been discussed so many times, but jet bikes. I would love Primaris to get some kind of bike, whether it be wheeled or hover. Of course, I would love it to be hover because the full Primaris range is hover-based tech. It'll look kind of out of place if they, you had the Repulsor, you had the Astraeus, you had all these hover tanks and stuff. Then all of a sudden there's like a wheeled bike. It would just look out of place. So if anything was to happen when it came to the vehicles, I would absolutely love some bikes, some hover bikes, to see them, just jetting around the field. I have no idea what weapons you can put on them. I would probably say like a lance or anything, but that's maybe be copying a bit too much of the Custody range, since they have all that stuff. So maybe just guns and, maybe, they've got like plasma pistols or some kind of plasma gun, or just any kind of guns they've got in their hand. Or maybe they can even just, give them power swords or mauls or thunder hammers or axes or lightning claws. Anything that just makes them stand out and have that rule of cool factor at the end of the day is going to be brilliant for me personally as a Primaris fanboy. On the subject of new vehicles, I should have mentioned this at the start, excuse me, is that the new tank, which we all got previewed and teased about, of course, I think this is going to be connected to the light range as well. And what I mean by that, I personally think it's going to be a transport, and its main objective is to transport your guys around. Just like the Dreadnought, as we discussed, where it has the deep striking thing, I think this may potentially have some kind of teleportation / deep striking rule. I know that sounds absolutely mad, but because they've shown it off with like the Reavers and the Vanguards and some of the other stuff which we'll go into in a second, it just makes sense to have that kind of effect. So, well, if anything, it would be really cool if it had the, deny deep striking to the enemy, just like we talked about with the Dreadnought, where maybe it's 12 inches instead of 9, so you can push it up. Or maybe like a rule where once the enemy is deployed, you can redeploy that with your guys inside of it up to 9 inches away from the enemy and stuff like that. So, little things like that, which I think would make it slot in and have that kind of special forces kind of mobility rule when you come to play with that tank and put your guys into that vehicle. Also, as well, we have the Las Fusiliers. Am I pronouncing this right? I forgot what the bloody name is now. Basically, the Eliminators are getting a new weapon, which is something to do with Las. A lot of people speculating that it's going to be anti-vehicle orientated. If we look at the Apocalypse rules, which was more or less the confirmation of these, then it kind of looks like it is going to be anti-vehicle, which is very, very cool, because the more anti-vehicle in my Primaris range, the better. At the moment, when it comes to infantry against vehicles in my Primaris range, the only things I have is Hellblasters, just a ton of Hellblasters. That's why I think Hellblasters are probably the best unit to take at the moment if you're doing a pure Primaris force like myself and other people and stuff like that. So adding that next option to that range should be cool. Again, we haven't really got the rules for the guns, or what type of damage it does, or its AP or anything like that. So it's going to be really, really fun to see that. I expect that to come out soon. This whole subject about what is coming and when it's coming is probably a debate within itself, because do you remember a couple of days ago when I mentioned the Space Marine Codex? We need a new Space Marine Codex. It's more or less definitely 99.9% confirmed that we will definitely be getting a new Space Marine Codex now. It just has to happen with all this new stuff coming out, and I'm hoping that it's just not the stuff that we've been teased. I am personally hoping, I'm being greedy, that we actually get more stuff coming out rather than what we've just seen and what Wade teased us on the YouTube video and stuff like that. Because some people are saying, well, if there is new stuff coming out, then it would have been teased in the Apocalypse data, the data sheets and stuff, just like the las guns and all that. But that argument is invalid now, because we know that there's a new Primaris tank, and we know that there's a new Primaris Dreadnought coming out, and they were not in the data sheets, of course, because that would have been a huge, massive spoiler for GW to do that. So probably the Space Marine data sheets is going to be upgraded at some point and reworked so these things could be added to it. When's it going to be coming out? My best bet is probably, I'd probably say, well, I know it's summer now, but I'm going to say late summer, maybe like September-ish, August-ish. A lot of people say maybe it's this month, July. July is the month, because we have Apocalypse coming out this month, and then there's really nothing else on the cards. Could GW really slip this in and really, have a surprise at the end of July? Hopefully not, because I'm away on holiday at the end of July, and I would hate to miss everything. So I'm going to say end of summer rather at the start of somewhere where we are right now. And the probably biggest discussion, really, which I'm leaving to the end, is, like, I've been selfish. I've been speaking about Primaris because I'm fully on board the Primaris hype train, but what about the normal Marines? What about the regular Astartes, which have more or less been left out in the cold at the moment? The only new model I know about these guys is the event model, which is the Librarian. Again, if I can get it and show up on the screen, I'll get it. But it's I think it's going to be like a is it the next like big event, like the Las Vegas event, whatever that's called? I think that's where they start selling it and stuff like that. That is the only new model I know of which the normal Marines are getting. So what does that mean for that range? Are they on the verge now of being slowly faded out, and that is it for the end of them? Me, as a Primaris fanboy, as a Space Marine fanboy, as an Astarte, you know, just a general Imperium fanboy, I really, really hope they don't do that. Because one, they have so much character, they have so much lore, and they're amazing. Two, I think it will split the community even more. Now we are having banter. Of course, there's some people that really hate Primaris, and if you like Primaris, for some reason, these people think it's like, you're a noob, you know, burn at the stake and stuff like that, which is weird, because we're all fans at the end of the day of this same hobby. But if that was to happen and they completely faded out the normal Marine range, then I sense that it's got to be, I think within the community itself, it's going to be flames. There's going to be so many flames because there's so many people that have invested as well in these armies. And for them just to slowly fade them out and not give them updates of any sort, you know, like, you know, just new models, character models or anything like that. Let's say, for example, Dante. If Dante or Azrael or Ragnar get the Primaris treatment, much like Calgar has got the Primaris treatment, then for me, that's more or less 100% confirmed fact that they are going fully on Primaris now, and the normal Marines will be officially left out in the cold. And, of course, that would mean, again, so much flame in the community, because all these people that have invested in Blood Angels, Dark Angel armies with the normal Marines will be like, wait, what the hell? You know, I spent so much money on these guys, and all of a sudden it's just, hey, look, there's new Space Marines now, but they're not like new Space Marines to the range. It's like a complete different breed of Space Marines, which you should start collecting. So I can completely understand if people start getting upset. I've actually always looked at this from a business point of view from GW, and just looked at it and think that there has been no normal Marines. So from their standpoint, it's like, no, we are fully on board the Primaris train now, and that is all we're doing when it comes to new Space Marine models. I would love to be wrong. Please, 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 please. I would love to be wrong, but I just can't see it. If you know, if anyone can change my mind on that, then please try, because it's just hard to see me. It's just hard to see past Primaris being the main faction now when it comes to the Space Marines. I know we don't have as many units or many options as Space Marines, but I feel like this is what they're doing now. That, you know, with the new light range and stuff like that, which is yet to be announced and stuff. But I feel like the building blocks are in place to start implementing that, so these guys become the main Space Marine force, rather than being, you know, an attachment, which you have because you don't have that many options at the moment. That will slowly start coming into place over the next 2 to 3 years. Alright, Chaperoonios, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think. Do you think we're going to be getting more Primaris reveals before we get this so-called new codex? Again, I'm 99.9% confirmed it's coming. Is the stuff that's just been previewed, do you think is... I say the stuff that's been previewed, you know, the stuff that was teased to us with Wade talking to one of the designers and stuff about the lieutenants or lieutenants, whatever you want to call them. Do you think that's basically the only Primaris stuff that is being released this year? Maybe it's the last Primaris stuff that gets released this year, or do you think there's even more attached to that? And of course, with the question of the normal Marines, what do you guys think about that? Is it just me that's looking at it like Primaris are slowly taking over, or am I completely wrong? I'd love to be wrong. Right, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you all very, very soon. See you now, and bye-bye.